with that being said, I'll just kick it over to Patrick.
Awesome. Great. As I was going to say, great to have you guys with us. Thank you for joining us. I know this is during the workday and is a significant time investment, but we just appreciate the opportunity to chat Star Wars and hear what's on your guys' minds. So we're going to dive in, and I think we have someone joining us kind of midstream, so we'll catch them up. And then Dominic, I think, do you have to leave at 10 a.m. Rhode Island time? Is that correct?
I'm actually going to be able to stick around for the whole
Great.
thing. I've managed to make it work, so that's wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you. So we will catch up. I forget who it is, but we will catch up our late joiner and go from there. So we're going to kick it off. We want to spend as much time talking Star Wars as possible. So we will start with Klaus. Klaus, what do you got for us?
Hello together. I have prepared 5 questions together with our collector community here in Germany. And the first question that I had is, what is the strategy from Hasbro for HasLab Europe? Because at the moment, HasLab it's placed in Great Britain, and Great Britain goes out of the EU, and it's not so easy to get these items from Great Britain at the moment. And in my point of view, it's very important for the rest of Europe, for the France colleagues, for Spain, Italy, and Germany, Switzerland, and so on. It's it's a very hard discussed question for us, and I hope you have a good answer for us.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're committed as well. HasLab has changed drastically in the 3 years since it was launched. We did make huge strides, honestly, from the Barge in 2018 to the Razor Crest last year. We were able to make that available to a lot more international consumers. Just many factors more. Zavi obviously was the retailer across the EU last year. It's TBD for future HasLab items. Again, it's evolving quickly, and so we'll see even for the Rancor, for the Black Series item that's launching, whatever that may be. We will see what we do with that. And so TBD for future HasLab items, but we are committed to getting those to as many fans as possible.
Okay, perfect. It sounds good.
Yep. All righty. Up next is Jake from Forlom to Zuckus.
Good morning. Thank you always for doing this. It's always a fun way to interact when, of course, we're not being able to see you at our normal San Diego and Toy Fair and celebration, but we do, of course, have some questions. So it appears that Lucasfilm changed Clone Captain Ballast's name late in production to Clone Captain Hauser, as shown and heard in the last episode of The Bad Batch. Now, the Vintage Collection is already under production. So will the Black Series version, wink, have ballast or howitzer in the figure name?
Yep, absolutely. So, as always, we were aware of that. We appreciate the attention to detail that fans have for these characters. During production schedules, you kind of hinted at it, can sometimes occur when our team delivers figures timed with or shortly after an entertainment release. And this has happened in the past. In 2016, Jyn Erso, for example, all of those figures were released as Sergeant Jyn Erso because when we were developing packaging, she had that rank, ultimately didn't in the final movie. So any future versions would have the correct name if possible. For example, Jyn Erso, any future versions didn't have the Sergeant in the name.
So the Vintage Collection is going to remain unchanged because it's too far down the road?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool.
Great. All righty. Up next is Sean from Imperial Shipyards.
Yes, good morning. We were very surprised at how quickly the Bad Batch Vintage 4-pack sold out. Thank you so much for sending word that we're going to be offered down the road. Is it pretty much a no-brainer to see that the real Bad Batch is going to come into the Vintage 3 and 3/4 inch line?
As always, we say we can't reveal anything or comment on that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a no-brainer. It is certainly, we know it's a great entertainment property and a possibility for the future. But great to hear the enthusiasm from the fans and something we could certainly look at in the future.
Awesome.
Thank you. All righty, Dan from Star Wars Collector. Oh, and I think Dan might be the one. Yeah, Dan might be the one that we're waiting for. So we will catch him up. Up next is Dominic from Star Wars Underworld.
Hey, good morning. Thank you as always for doing these. Got to start with one of your most recent reveals, and that is the Trapper Wolf, aka Dave Filoni figure that was recently revealed. Can you talk about why you felt like this was the right time to finally allow fans to bring Dave Filoni home, in a sense? What the design process was like, and as a kind of sort of follow up, as somebody who's from Toronto, I'm legally required to ask if a Carson Teva figure, Kim's Convenience Appa, Paul Sun Hyung Lee's character, is in the works to go with it as well, seeing as he is Trapper's wingmate.
Yeah, well, first of all, for the process of Trapper and how we decided to do that, and it's not about necessarily being Dave Filoni, it's about the character. It's about Trapper Wolf, and the fact that it is Dave is a super fun coincidence. But like the figure's about celebrating Trapper Wolf, so it's a really amazing happenstance that happens to be Dave. We were as excited about that as anybody, I think. So, but that's really where it comes from, and then we work really closely with Lucasfilm to make sure that's okay, that Dave's all right with that sort of thing, and because I think you guys probably all know Dave doesn't want to celebrate himself. He wants to celebrate Star Wars, and the character is what we're celebrating there. So that's why that one's worked so well and is so fun for us. Carson Teva, you just have to wait and see. And I agree. I think that would be a fun one. And I think Patrick did an interview or a live stream that they got surprised, and he joined them on the actor joined them on the stream for a little bit. So
that's so cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Alrighty, up next is Sebastian from Planet Star Wars.
Yes, thank you for your time. I have another question about Trapper Wolf. This is the first action figure of a Star Wars creator. So can we expect one day a George Lucas action figure, like the Baron Papanoida or something else?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually did do a George Lucas back in 2007. It was a 3 3/4 inch figure. In terms of kind of future figures of Star Wars creators, specifically in Black Series or not, it's certainly something we can look at. It's been great to hear the response from fans on Trapper Wolf. And so, yeah, definitely something we could see more of in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. All righty, let's go back to the top with Klaus.
Yeah, my next question is about the playsets. The playsets that we get in the last years. We get very good playsets with 10D4, Bespin, and the Jabba playset. It's in the vintage collection. It's very good, but the problem is it's very hard to get the right figures for this playset. My question is: it is possible to get for the future when you bring out a vintage collection playset? Some kind of battle packs with the right figures for it, because it's much easier to fulfill the playset with the right figures, because some from needed figures are coming out 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and yeah, it's hard to get all these relevant figures.
Yeah, we've definitely heard that ask, and it's important to us to build out the figure selects from those playsets. And we're working to do that over time. I don't have anything specific to tell you about what's coming or not coming, but it's definitely a heard ask, and it's important to us to do that because world building is such a big part of those.
Okay, perfect. It sounds good.
Great. All righty, Jake, back to you.
All right. Question number 2. Now, we know that special pack-ins that are not part of the vintage collection line design, but what are your thoughts about alternate heads? With the Bad Batch series now making its way to the figure line, 3 3/4 line, and the Clone Wars Season 7 figures on the way, what is the argument against including an extra head styled in animated form for those who grew up and collected the robust Clone Wars animated line?
Well, I think for us the priority on the vintage collection stuff is kind of that realistic interpretation, and there's so many long-term collections and that are focused on that more realistic interpretation. And the stylized approach is such a more limited selection from history. I think our overall approach has been to lean into the realistic interpretations. An alternate head in there might come at the cost of other accessories or more meaningful additions to that set. So it's been a priority selection to say like, okay, well, we want to include more things that make this figure overall meaningful, and instead of just giving a second version of that figure in there. So it's a big balancing act of all that stuff, and then with kind of the general approach being a more realistic interpretation. So.
Would there be the availability for pack-ins again? Because of course, since the modern line started in 95, it seems like there's always been an additional pack-in, like stand or display or, you know, something, coin, dice, game, whatever. Would that be possible at a different price point? Meaning, like, if we had a different line that wasn't the vintage collection, is that something that's still available?
I mean, price point differentiation gives us a lot more ability to do things. So if you guys have feedback and things that you'd like to see and ideas, feel free to like shout them out, talk about them, because we're listening.
Okay.
I mean, I think you guys have seen that in figure selects and some other things too. So
absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. All righty, Sean, back to you.
Yeah, this is kind of a follow-up question I asked last time I was here. I asked a question about the shipping of the vintage products from Amazon, and you said you would take that to them. And I'm wondering if you have any feedback from them. And boy, Walmart has really, really gotten bad too. So I'm just wondering, like, when you ship out your products to those basic retailers, I mean, is there any feedback that you give them on how to ship them to regular folks so they don't get damaged?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things here. One is that we definitely are we're doing these conversations. We're listening to the fan community a lot, and we absolutely, this is 100% true. We pass on that feedback as much as we can. I think the other thing is, obviously there are some things that are in our control, and so we've been doing some other interviews this morning, and we're breaking some small news, or maybe it's big news, but starting with items later this year or early 22, the timing is TBD, but we are moving to thicker cardstock for our vintage and retro figures.
That was one of my next questions.
I know, yeah. We've seen similar responses, which is great. So maybe it is big news, but basically that's something we can do to help avoid that packaging damage. It's not free for us, but it's, you know, we talk all the time, and we know that fans care about the packaging, you know, in some cases as much as the product. And so we want to do what we can to make sure that that product arrives with you guys in the condition that it's supposed to. So yeah, we're excited for that. You know, processes are long on these things. So again, it's not going to happen next week, but either in late 21 or early 2022, we will see that roll out.
Oh, that's great news. Thank you.
Awesome. Absolutely. Dan, you're up next. Sorry, Dan, we're still waiting on. Dominic, back to you.
Cool. Just with the two new play sets that you recently revealed, the Death Star 2 and the Cantina, can you just give us some of the highlights, what you're most excited about in those designs, what you think people should be looking out for when they pick them up?
Well, the Cantina set, you're talking the Black Series one?
Yes.
It's really cool in that all the Cantina pieces are all reconfigurable, so that if you bought two of those sets, you can build a full kind of racetrack bar area. So like the pipes and stuff, that backdrop piece, you can take two of those and nest them back to back and kind of fill in that cacophony of pipes and stuff. And then the little round piece on the end and the straight section of the bar are separate, so you can build that out really nice. So that's super fun. The Death Star 2 set from the Vintage Collection exclusive, you'll see when you get it in hand, the opening experience of how that opens is really magical and super fun. How that happens, the structure of the packaging and stuff. We're super proud of that. So it's going to inform future stuff. I think just fan reaction to both of those has been really good. So excited for it.
Absolutely. Awesome. All
Thank you.
righty. Yep. Sebastian, back to you.
Yes, I want to know why did you choose a new up Leia for the new Archive Wife? Because she was a big peg warmer a few years ago, and the Bush and Prisoner version were most weighted by fans.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So, obviously this version is a beloved version of Leia, who's, one of the most popular and foundational characters. This is, definitely her most iconic outfit, the outfit we first see her in the trilogy. This figure was also last released in 2017, I believe it was, right before the photoreal deco launched in 2018. And so we were really excited to see what the photoreal deco technology could do to enhance this figure. And we wanted to make sure that we got the definitive version of the most iconic Leia out there. So that was the reasoning behind that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. All righty, back to the top with Klaus.
Okay, my next question is also for the 6-inch Black Series Cantina playset. It looks very good. My question is there some new, other figures planned for this 6-inch Black Series line, and which characters is it?
Well, you've already seen the couple other characters in that same sort of packaging.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the current stuff coming. Anything future, I don't have anything to tell you about future stuff, and they're fun things. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It means it comes, but you can say which character is it.
I'm sorry.
I understood. There are coming more figures, but you can not tell us which character is it.
Oh, the Han and Luke figures on the Power of the Force card backs that we've announced.
Okay.
So they're both figures that work with those other characters in that scene. So, and then obviously we have a history with other characters. There was that great Cantina Showdown Black Series set with Greedo and Han in it in the past. So I think there's a rich history of stuff there that also works well with that.
Okay, understood.
The Mandalorian, right?
All righty, Jake, back to you.
Perfect. The reveal of the upcoming Black Series Cantina Showdown cinema scene set. Fans are incredibly excited about this chance to pay homage to the Power of the Force 2 set and to add this great world building display piece to the collection. Now, how long has this been in the works, and what finally made you pull the trigger on releasing this type of product in the 6-inch line?
Well, the great thing with this one is the tie to the 50th and kind of our look at celebrating past packaging, and that Power of the Force 2 line was so great and iconic in that. And that Cantina set, I know for me personally, was always a favorite of mine, like those characters and just kind of that scene build. So when we were looking at it for this, that was a great one to bring in and be able to update with the environmental pieces. But then it also lended itself really well to other figures that kind of haloed that, the Han and Luke figures that had similar card backs that we could bring out to kind of play with that and kind of tell a more cohesive story of that little sub segment of the 50th celebration. So.
Oh, it's a great set. It's a little torturous because you're going to want to open it, yet the package is what makes it magical, right? So maybe we can reuse that bar piece down the road, huh?
There you go. Absolutely. It's the bane of all collecting, whether
Right.
keep it in pack or out of pack. Alrighty, Sean, you're up.
Yeah, I may as well ask my question about this set. Panda and Dr. Ez, we've got to have more of those original trilogy aliens so we can do a lot more packs like that, right?
We would love to do it. I would say keep screaming about it and definitely prioritize your favorite characters that you think would make the most compelling offerings. I mean, we listen to you guys for figure selects and that. So yeah, don't be quiet about it.
I got that loud and clear.
Absolutely. All righty. I will not toss to Dan again yet. We'll see if he's able to join us. But Dominic, back to you.
Cool. So just on the Bad Batch front, there is a character that is a big part of that show that's kind of conspicuous by their absence and all of the merch, and that's Omega. She's kind of getting the Baby Yoda treatment. It looks like. Can you give us a little insight into why we haven't seen any Omega stuff from Hasbro just yet? And I think you guys did a pipeline reveal that she's on the way. Do you have any sort of rough timeline for when that figure might be on the shelves?
Yeah, so again, kind of you mentioned Baby Yoda. So similarly, Lucasfilm and we certainly agree with the results. We wanted Omega's introduction to be revealed in the show. So kind of all assets needed for development related to her character were held back from the first wave of Bad Batch product development to protect that. It's again similar to Baby Yoda. We saw it with Luke in The Force Awakens, so similar there. As you said, we pipeline revealed her, so we will definitely be seeing Omega join the Black Series line. I think when we pipeline revealed it, those dates are always pretty general because it's so far out. So I think, probably at some point in 2022, we'll see that character. So she's coming probably the front half of 2022, and we'll be excited when she does come.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. No problem. All right, Sebastian, finish up our third round.
I love the new Rogue One wave in the Black Series line. So can we expect a new wave with the reissue of all the main characters for another movie? I think The Force Awakens could be a good choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. So the Rogue One set and the Rebels set, those were both complete the crew. So the idea there is that we had one last figure to complete these iconic crews. So those were kind of the ideas there. Certainly, if there are similar crews in the future, that's a potential. And obviously, as you mentioned, kind of all those characters from 2015 and Rogue One, obviously from 16 and 17, haven't had photoreal deco yet. And so they're certainly great candidates for potential release in the future, but nothing specific to announce.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, absolutely. All righty. We'll kick off our fourth round, and we'll move a little more quickly to make sure that we're able to get both rounds in. So Klaus, kick us off for our fourth round.
Okay, my next question is for the 6-inch Black Series spaceships. In the last years, we get the Snowspeeder and the TIE Fighter. Is there an additional spaceship planned, for example, the X-Wing fighter or something else?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, vehicles are a critical part of Star Wars, going back to the very beginning. We talk about the importance of world building, and we definitely know that. I think we lean into world building a bit more with the vintage collection, with the playsets we have, and we've got the Antok Merrick's X-Wing coming out later this year. But definitely, we've enjoyed the vehicles that we brought into the Black Series, and there's certainly potential for the future.
Okay.
Awesome. Great. All righty. Jake, you're up.
All right. Over the past few years, the distribution situation has become very challenging for fans and collectors. Very often, we see store shelves with empty pegs for both the vintage collection as well as the Black Series. And there's been a shift by many collectors to pre-order almost all their items. While Star Wars seems to be very present in pop culture with the success of Disney Plus programming, the toys seem to be much less present. What is the big picture strategy for marketing Hasbro Star Wars as a brand when big box stores cannot seem to keep items on the shelves or restocked?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny, you mentioned pre-order as one thing that we've implemented in the past year or so to address this. One thing we always say is that we're all on the same page here. Like Hasbro, the retailers, the fans, like everyone wants the same things, people to be able to buy items that they want to buy. So it's not like we have any sort of different goals. That obviously as a company, and also us as individuals, as fans ourselves, that's definitely what we want to see happen. And we're always working to try to improve that. So obviously the implementation of pre-orders, recently in this year, when the pre-order experience hasn't been positive, we've held pre-orders either to a later date, like with the vintage original 96, the first wave, or just altogether holding some items until they're on shelf. So that's certainly one thing. I think the other thing to keep in mind is just, we talk all the time about kind of development cycles, and it is a long process. And so, thinking about where kind of we've been with the brand over the past few years, I think, there's a lot of demand now, which is great. And I think we'll continue to see that improve in the future as a result of us kind of, being able to plan better for the future.
So you guys would dispel the myth that people are saying that empty shelves are a good thing for Hasbro, and you like that because it means it drives demand and it makes things more exciting, I guess, when things are found, right?
No, I mean, I think we've said in the past, like if we could somehow produce have perfect kind of foresight and produce the exact number, that's our goal, is to get these products to every fan that wants them. So yeah, absolutely dispelling that myth.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. All righty, Sean, you're up.
Yeah, I had a user that wanted to know if the retro line was going to continue, and if so, how many figures or waves can we expect?
Well, the exact details of the future of retro we'll leave in our back pockets and not let you guys in on. But
Gee,
we love it and are excited for it. So yeah.
gotcha.
Absolutely. Awesome. Cool. All righty. Still won't toss it to Dan. Windows closing there. Dominic, what do you got for us?
Cool. I got a bit of a silly one for you. When you guys revealed the Power of the Force packaging for the 50th anniversary, was there any consideration ever given to going all the way in the tribute and doing some of those hyper muscular versions of the figures like we saw in the 90s?
Strangely enough, you're not the first person to ask that. No, seriously, there wasn't really consideration given to that. But I think it's a super fun mental exercise to think about that. And Patrick threw out like stuff like Darth Maul, like bare-chested Darth Maul figures and other things that we could have. So I want to see the community do some customs of those. I think that would be an amazing thing. So the classic ones, the original figures are near and dear to my heart. They're part of what kind of got me back into the collecting thing again, like they did for so many people. But they are bizarre and strange and special. So
those are certainly some words for them.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Sebastian, bring our fourth round to a close.
Yes, in the Black Series line, for the new reissue of Qui-Gon Jinn, you change his head with a new sculpt. So why did you keep the old one for Obi-Wan in the archive collection when you have an awesome model for the Clone Wars version?
Well, our approach, generally speaking, with archive is to take those figures that were hard to get for fans, and then essentially do a re-release of them. So we like to change them as little as we can, but we've been doing the photoreal deco on the faces to give them an update so that people who did have the originals have a meaningful reason to get the new one, but also not make them so different from the originals that the people who had missed out aren't getting the thing they missed out on. So, and I think that's kind of a general approach for archive stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. All righty, back to the top for our last speed round because we got to end on time. So Klaus, what's the last thing on your mind?
My last question is for the vintage collection. And some months ago, we heard that you planned also, like in this Black Series line, the Cantina playset for the vintage collection. And my question is this in the same level like in the Black Series, or is it different?
No, we
Cantina playset for the vintage collection.
We don't have any announcement stuff for that for you. So
okay.
And
we pipeline revealed for vintage collection a Navarro Cantina playset. Is that what you're referring to, Klaus?
Yeah, that set, the set that we pipeline revealed is the Navarro Cantina from The Mandalorian, not the A New Hope Cantina that we did in Black Series. So.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All righty, Jake, what do you got?
All right. During the I'm Your Father's Day live stream event, you revealed lots of great Mission Fleet sets based on the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian shows. Now, these all Now, these are all sets that in the past 40 years would have been a no-brainer to release in the 3 3/4 scale. While we enjoy the kid-focused line of the Mission Fleet, I really do actually, it appears reveals like these are painful reminders to the action figure collectors of the heritage scale that what is not being provided in the line. Does Hasbro foresee a time in the future when the 3 3/4 line is not regulated to just the vintage collection? One where maybe more of a traditional balance between kid and collector could be struck, like many of the modern lines in the past.
Yeah, so it's great feedback. We did announce last year that we were putting our kid-focused 5 POA 3 3/4 inch in the vault. Now that's the vault. We weren't retiring it, I know. There's no plans to change that at this point. Like you said, we've been excited about Mission Fleet and the ability to deliver vehicles for kids kind of in a way that's possible for them to obtain. And as you mentioned, we've seen fan excitement for Mission Fleet as well. And we are really focused on vintage collection as the future of 3 3/4 inch. So those are still the plans for now.
Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Sean, what do you
Well, that
got?
sounds good to me on the vintage collection. I actually had a couple users on Imperial Shipyards. This is like a Pulse question. Is Pulse directly tied to Hasbro, or do you guys just consider it another online e-tailer? And if it is another online e-tailer, have them give lessons to Amazon and Walmart about how to ship stuff. Please.
Yeah, no, it is Hasbro Pulse. They
Okay.
are Hasbro's direct-to-consumer channel. We certainly do everything we can to preserve that relationship with fans. Hasbro Pulse's motto is where fans come first. I'm sure we have ways to improve there as well. And like I said, kind of all of our retailers are committed as much as possible to improving the experience for fans, and we're working with them and sharing feedback both directions to make sure that that's the case.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Alrighty, Dominic, final round. What do you got?
Final round. All right. I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you since you revealed the Clone Wars packaging for the 50th anniversary and that little tribute there. Can you just talk about the decision to bring that stuff into the 50th anniversary and why it was so important to get the Clone Wars in there? Speaking as a huge Clone Wars fan, it was great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. So you're right. I mean, Clone Wars is, as we thought about the Lucasfilm 50th, it was really about these big milestones in that 50 years as it pertains to Star Wars. And Clone Wars obviously played a huge role. It was the kind of first modern animated series. Obviously, we know that there were others in the 80s and early aughts with Tartakovsky. But that kind of launched this wave of new animation with Clone Wars and Rebels and Resistance, and Bad Batch, obviously. And it obviously also kind of sustained Star Wars between the prequel trilogy and sequel trilogy in the way that publishing, really did with Heir to the Empire and, titles like that between the original trilogy and prequel trilogy. So we certainly saw the importance of Clone Wars in the 50-year history, and that's why we wanted to celebrate it.
Fantastic. Thanks for everything this morning, guys.
Absolutely. No, thank you. Sebastian, bring us to a close.
I have a very simple question. So how do you choose the color series blister for each movie or TV show? And can you tell us which color will be on the A New Hope and Revenge of the Sith blisters?
Well, the way we choose it, we have kind of a bigger color palette. So we're looking at all the ones we have currently. So we don't want to overlap too close to things, but we're also trying to draw from the content a little bit too. And I think you saw that probably with some of the other packages that have come out, where we kind of pick or choose a highlight color that's in some of the main stuff from that content. For new ones, I don't think have we revealed any newest stuff, Patrick? I don't think we have, of new colors or anything. I think you guys have seen everything that we have.
Yeah,
we don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we don't have the color for New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, The Last Jedi, and The Force Awakens, I think.
Oh, well, we'll address those as we have figures from those properties. We don't have them the colors pre-chosen for things though.
Yeah, okay. I think A New Hope might on our Wedge Antilles helmet. It might that we revealed a few months ago.
Okay.
But obviously that's not a figure, but it would be the same. I know when we reveal some of the items from entertainment for the first time, we do sometimes comment on the sourcing, and our brand design team does a great job of trying to tie those to the entertainment, whether it's posters or kind of color themes that we see in the entertainment. So there's always some decision behind it, while also trying to keep things different so that kind of not everything is the same color. So they try to strike that balance.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And Dan never joined us, which is fine. So we'll bring it to a close. So just a couple things in closing. First, we always say this, just thank you guys so much for taking the time. I think we say it every time, but it really is fun to kind of ignore our meetings for a few hours and chat Star Wars with you guys. So thank you. I know we're in multiple time zones and multiple continents, but we really do appreciate it. The other just bit of housekeeping I wanted to throw out there is, I think at the start of the interviews, I mentioned a character in regards to HasLab. Honestly, was thinking of a different item. We just run through so many characters, and so don't want any fans out there to get their hopes up. So we are excited. We are excited for that project. We're going to reveal that later, but yeah, we're not trying to break any news that doesn't actually exist. So so thank you guys again so much. We love doing these. We look forward to doing them again, and we'll be in touch again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.